Great. Okay. So, can you tell somebody how you feel about them without objectifying them? This is something I want to talk about today. I guess the idea with these videos is like there's a lot of videos I made in the past where it was a little bit more, a few more graphics, like a little bit more kind of flashy and showy. And to be honest, I just got bored of doing that. It was like it took a lot of effort, and I don't think it really added a great deal to the quality. I might start doing it again in the future, but I think coming into 2017, which welcome everybody to 2017, new year. I would like to do things a little bit more kind of raw, a little bit real, a little bit less neatly cut around the edges, so I can, I don't know, just demonstrate that it's human being stuff. Probably to myself. That's probably what I'm trying to do. Trying to demonstrate to myself that to be a human being is alright. So I've even got some notes today. Objectification. Can you tell somebody how you feel about them, or how you feel about something they've done without objectifying them? And this comes from over the Christmas period, and like I've got some really feel very blessed. Like there's some really amazing people. There you go. I've just objectified them. That's exactly what I want to talk about today. Some really amazing people. You know, this is kind of where it started to fall down for me. When people give me compliments and I give them compliments in this kind of framework of like, you are amazing, you are brilliant, you are wonderful. And it's subtle, and obviously the intention is good. You want to express something. You want to express something very sincere. That, you know, when you observe something this person has done, you feel all great inside. You feel all kind of warm, and you feel like, I don't know, some kind of admiration thing. But in establishing a kind of a communication boundary, I want to present a non-violent way of telling somebody how you feel about them, giving them gratitude in a way that doesn't objectify them. The issue, I think, with this objectification thing is that you tell somebody that they're amazing, and you kind of solidify them into that box of like they are amazing. But I don't know what it really means, because it's like it's the same as saying somebody's a bad person, somebody's a good person, somebody's a bad person. The objectification is the same. So even though these kind of very well-intentioned, you are wonderful type comments, they don't really get to the sort, they're not really like easily received in a way that doesn't feed the egoic box-like self. Oh, I am wonderful. That means that everything I must do is wonderful, and if I start to do something that doesn't kind of correlate to this little box that I've put myself in, then I'm either going to ignore it and be ashamed of it, or there's going to be some kind of does not compute style thing, some kind of discord between this thing that I've done that hasn't served life and this idea that I am an object of life-serving potential. I think that makes sense. So, what I was keen to explore today was a new way of telling somebody how you feel about them without objectifying them. So if you've done something that this is the non-violent way to do it. If you've done something that I really like and I feel really good when I notice this thing that you've done, I'm going to call attention to the thing that you've done. I'm going to say how I feel when I notice that, not how it makes me feel, because nothing kind of, you're taking some power back with that. It's like nothing has the power to make you feel a certain way. I think that was an attempt at these little things, little rabbit ears, but I kind of got halfway and then ended up doing a kind of a claw type thing. I think my point was that I call attention to what somebody has done, then I call attention to the feeling I feel that's generated inside when I notice what it is that they've done. And then if I'm really kind of getting into it, then I will say, because it met a need for, and I highlight the need that it met. So let's think of an example. Say I did some homeless thing before Christmas, and a lot of comments came in. Oh, you're such a wonderful person. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, yeah, thanks very much. That is me. I'm a wonderful person. Look at me. Me, everybody. And it starts to like feed this little ego idea. But the reality is that I'm not always like that. Like, I'm not always as generous and giving and philanthropic. And, everybody's got this kind of dark side that you kind of flip back and forth between and trying to figure out what's the best way to do things. Sometimes I just like to do other stuff that's less than wonderful in comparison to that. So what I would have rather received or what would have been an easier thing to receive without taking it on egoically in that situation was if somebody were to express themselves in the way of, when I see you do this, I feel inspired because my need for compassion or community or giving or inspiration, my need for inspiration has been met. Or when I see you do this, I feel a warm kind of fuzzy feeling because my need to observe compassionate humanity has been met. And in that way, that gives me feedback that I can then take on board and say, right, when I do these things, it serves life and people enjoy that. And that's great. Because if they enjoy it and I enjoy it, then everybody's having a really good time. So you bring attention to the behaviour, just the concrete behaviour. This is nonviolent communication 101. The concrete behaviour without bringing in a diagnosis or an evaluation of it, but just what you've observed. When I see you do this homeless thing, I feel warm and fuzzy, and my heart begins to open because my need to observe kindness and to be inspired or something is met. That's the components of how to give praise without objectifying somebody, that then creates the kind of attention when they start to like act out a little bit, or they do start to do things that don't serve life perhaps as well as the other acts. I don't know if that makes 100% sense, hopefully, but I'm just kind of grappling my way through this, and we'll see what happens. There's a couple of other things I wanted to discuss, and that is around intimacy. So 2017, New Year's resolutions. Obviously, everybody's got these kind of New Year's resolutions. Somebody asked me what my New Year's resolution was the other day, and I hadn't really thought about it. And then I've been reading this book called The Truth by Neil Strauss, author of The Game. And he wrote The Game, and back when I was 18, I was all into that, how to pick up women and great, doing all this stuff. And now he's like writing the opposite of that, like how to undo all the damage about the psychology of that, that kind of sex addiction, porn addiction, or love avoidant, love addiction, all these kind of addictions, how to kind of undo all that psychological mindset and actually get into some real intimacy. And there's a couple of little gems from this book that I'm taking. One of them is the idea, so this comes back to my New Year's resolution. I want to explore the idea of intimacy instead of intensity. A lot of times we're covering up, we're walling ourselves up to intimacy by covering up with intensity. I thought that was a really interesting idea. Another definition, another little gem that he put here, I've written these down. Only when you love someone more than you need them do you have a shot at a real relationship. I thought that was quite profound, or like a shot at real intimacy, because that's it's true. It's like if you're really loving something, you give it the freedom to kind of be what it is, and you don't need it to alter its behavior or change or something like that. And so distinguishing between love and need, and in that same way, bringing back needs to yourself, like my need for, in this very non-violent communication way, is really important. There was another intimacy definition that was, intimacy is, you can define intimacy by two people, or I don't know, maybe more. But if you're able to share your reality, your complete reality with somebody, and they're able to share their reality completely with you, and neither one is in competition, neither one is trying to change the other one or trying to consume the other one. It's like, here's one reality, here's another reality. And they can coexist together, and they come together in this kind of little double circular thing. It creates this kind of this intimacy framework. And as I'm even doing this little kind of gesture here, I'm thinking about the flower of life and how that's very much these interlocking circles where all these separate realities kind of coexist together in this way, without either circle trying to say, "Oh, you come here, you gotta be me." It's like there's no circle trying to dominate. There's no ideology that's trying to dominate the other one. So intimacy is when two realities can come together and merge and cross over, and they create a third entity, which is the relationship, and the relationship then feeds back into it. Like the two realities feed the relationship, which becomes a third entity and probably eventually a child, and then the third entity feeds back, and everybody kind of feeds each other without trying to dominate or impose or be involved in this kind of energy competition dynamic, which a lot of us, including myself, are still grappling with this idea of like energy competition. It's like when you get into an argument with somebody and you're trying to dominate like there's an idea coming through that you're trying to dominate their opinion. I've got to be right. I've got to dominate. I've got to kind of secure the energy needed to support this opinion, as if the opinion was you. Okay. There's somebody at the door now, so I've got to go. The final thing that I did want to mention is that this book also talks about, I've just got to this part, that head trauma is directly related to sex addiction. So, I'm looking back at my years of fighting and doing some pretty deep self-analysis. Somebody's having a funeral outside and there's somebody at the door now, so I'm definitely going to go. But it was nice talking to you, or just to me, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.